This is XI to I from Table XI. I'm Noel Rappin, and today we'll be discussing the Boring Software Manifesto. Now, there's a story behind this. Once upon a time, when the web was young and dinosaurs walked the earth, there was a web project. I was the technical lead on this web project, and I freely admit that I had no idea what I was doing. It was my first time being in that kind of position on any kind of good-sized project. And I talk about this project a lot in different contexts because it was a total mess, and in that respect, very instructive. In this case, though, we want to talk about one particular problem that we had. This was a web project with a singular addiction to changing stuff all the time. Now, to be fair to somebody, this wasn't all our fault. We had clients who were not used to working together or used to working for the web or used to keeping themselves from changing their mind every 48 hours. But we brought a lot of it on ourselves. For example, the management of this project decided that 72 hours before the final delivery date would be a fine time to rearrange all the UI. Not because anyone was complaining, not because we had run out of things to do, but just because this was the kind of project management team that didn't really feel like anything was going on unless people were running around like chickens with their heads cut off. And it may seem like I'm exaggerating for comic effect, and I swear to you I am not. This is a place that was addicted to adrenaline. And one of the things I learned at that point was that when it comes to software development process, I think excitement is a little bit overrated. In any case, one thing that the management of this team might have said was that all of this changing things around was just part of our being agile. Now, I'm sort of remaking history there because they wouldn't have actually called it agile at the time since the term agile didn't really exist yet. The XP book had just come out. I hadn't read it yet. And our management, certainly they didn't know this term. At the same time, I'm pretty confident that had the term been around, project management of this project would have eagerly appropriated it because honestly, who doesn't want to be agile? One of the great things about agile as a term is it has such positive and vague connotations that almost anybody can claim to want to be agile. Really, I worked at the company that's invented Six Sigma. I worked there for 3 years, and even they profess to want to be agile. Not that I don't love agile software development, I do, but I think we might have a branding problem, and I think it might actually be more important to pick something that maybe has less positive connotations and maybe something that you actually have to sort of really want. In other words, what I am suggesting is rather than being agile, let's be boring. Hence, the Boring Software Manifesto. In the way of manifestos since the beginning of time, or at least the beginning of the Agile Manifesto, we'll split this into two parts. In this case, the Boring Software Manifesto, we the undersigned favor the items in green over the items that you'll see in red, which frankly you are probably slightly insane if you favor. There are about 5 or 6 points in this. Our first one, the boring software development. We favor continual steady improvement over heroic measures. We favor going home at the same time every day. We favor not requiring 3 a.m. exciting code breakthroughs at 3 a.m. in order to make the project run. We favor continuous improvement. We favor the boringness of automated test suites and their endless supply of dots and green over the excitement of random bug discovery. The Boring Software Manifesto favors continuous integration over the surprise and excitement of merge conflicts that might happen weeks or months after original development. We favor frequent small shipment over delaying feedback because, again, frequent small shipment prevents large surprises. And if there's one thing the Boring Software Manifesto does not like, it is surprises. We favor understanding that requirements change over perhaps the more popular panicking because requirements changed. When you start a project with the idea that requirements might change, that encourages a more incremental style and again prevents unpleasant surprises later on. In other words, to put this maybe in a more general context, we favor focusing energy on interesting problems rather than wasting energy on chaos. So I guess what I might say here is that we're sort of rebranding the principles of Agile development in much the same way that, in the same way that Agile development really is about mitigating risk. In this case, we're talking about mitigating risk as being a way of preventing nasty surprises and allowing software development to continue smoothly and, dare I say, boringly. So, hoping that you will join me in having a boring project of your own. I'm Noel Rappin. If you like this, you can see more at my website, noelrappin.com, or you can find out more about TableXI at tablexi.com. This has been Eye to Eye, brought to you by TableXI, and we will be back. I hope you enjoy this, and we'll be back next week. Thank you.